If you drive anywhere in America, the actual rules of the road are literally shifting beneath your tires right now in 2026. We're not just talking about a few sneaky new temporary speed traps popping up for a holiday weekend. Oh no, we are looking at a complete, ground-up paradigm shift in highway enforcement happening across the entire country. The stakes? They've absolutely never been higher for everyday drivers. So let's get right into this explainer and break down exactly what you need to know.
Okay, let's dive into this. Because you know that era of getting pulled over, maybe having a quick, polite chat with an officer, and driving away with a friendly little roadside warning? Yeah, that is completely dead. The entire enforcement network has gone digital. It's invisible now. So the very first time most drivers even realize they've broken a new rule is when a massive fine just randomly shows up in their mailbox weeks later.
To really wrap our heads around where this inescapable enforcement network is heading, we have to look at Interstate 95. The I-95 corridor is basically the spine of the eastern U.S., right? It moves a truly staggering 300,000 vehicles every single day. And because of that massive, relentless volume, and let's be honest, its history of pretty dangerous conditions, it has become the ultimate testing ground. It's the lab for all these inescapable enforcement technologies. And make absolutely no mistake, what gets tested and perfected on I-95 is being aggressively rolled out everywhere else.
Which brings us to the very first major trap that is catching drivers completely off guard. Automated speeding fines. Consider Delaware's I-95 Churchman's Marsh work zone. Back on May 23, 2026, the temporary grace period officially ended. Boom. Live, automatic speed fines, generated entirely by cameras with zero human intervention, were permanently switched on.
And let me tell you, the math on these fines will drain your wallet ridiculously fast. It works like this. You start with a base penalty of $20. Not too bad, right? Well, then the speed escalator kicks in. That adds an additional $1 for every single mile per hour you're over the limit. And then they stack additional court fees right on top of the whole shebang. So if you're cruising at just 66 in a 55-mile-per-hour work zone, bam, you're hit with an instant unavoidable fine of $118 or more.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the sheer undeniable scale of this automated dragnet. Just in the first 72 hours of the system going live, over 10,000 vehicles were recorded traveling 11 or more miles over the limit. 39 vehicles blew past 100 miles per hour, and the system clocked a top speed at an absolutely insane 139 miles per hour. Listen, these aren't just rare edge cases. These are highly normalized driving patterns that are now being scooped up and fined automatically 24/7.
The absolute defining characteristic of this new era is the complete and total elimination of the human element. Legally, these are classified as civil penalties. That means no police officers, no flashing lights in your rearview mirror, no traffic stops where you can try to explain, why you were going a bit fast. The camera captures your plate, the software confirms it, and the registered owner of the vehicle gets the bill. Period. It totally doesn't matter who was actually behind the wheel at the time.
And we're seeing that exact same rigid strictness being applied to distracted driving now, too. Welcome to trap number 2, the stopped car phone trap. A really prime example of this is Pennsylvania's Paul Miller Law, which just took effect on June 5, 2026. This law rolled out incredibly strict new standards for phone use behind the wheel, and it mirrors a very rapid trend we're seeing spread like wildfire across over 24 states.
This law elevates holding a phone to a primary offense. So the crucial point is understanding what that legal jargon actually means for you out on the road. Basically, it means authorities do not need another reason to pull you over anymore. They don't need to see a busted taillight, and you don't need to be swerving out of your lane. An officer can initiate a stop and fine you solely because they spotted you holding a mobile device.
And right here is where we really need to bust a massive, super costly myth. Distracted driving laws in these primary jurisdictions, they don't just apply when you're cruising at highway speeds. Nope, ticketing applies even when your vehicle is completely stopped at a red light or if you're just sitting idly in dead, bumper-to-bumper traffic. Glancing at a quick text while parked in gridlock is 100% a ticketable stop now. And states like New York and New Jersey, they carry severe primary fines up to $400, and they'll instantly slap 5 points on your license.
All right, moving on to trap number 3, expanded move-over laws. Now, most of us definitely know the drill when we see a police cruiser or an ambulance with flashing lights, right? But a huge number of drivers still don't realize that recently states like Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Minnesota dramatically expanded these laws. They now cover absolutely any vehicle displaying hazard lights on the shoulder, an Amazon delivery truck, a broken-down sedan, a tow truck.
If those hazards are blinking, the law fully applies to you.
And getting your compliance wrong here is getting incredibly expensive. So here is the exact step-by-step legal formula you have to follow now. Step 1, you see any vehicle with hazard lights. Step 2, you must change lanes safely, moving away from them. Step 3, if traffic is too tight and prevents you from changing lanes, you are legally required to reduce your speed to a very specific number. Typically, that is exactly 20 miles per hour below the posted limit. If you fail to follow this precise formula, you trigger a $150 to $500 fine or even face a mandatory license suspension if someone gets injured.
And this brilliantly illustrates the really dangerous gap between what drivers think the rule is and the actual strict legal reality. I mean, simply tapping your brakes and slowing down by maybe 5 miles per hour, it feels like you're being cautious, it feels respectful, sure, but it is absolutely not legal compliance. These automated systems and highway patrols, they are measuring for exact speed thresholds. Miss that threshold and it leads directly to heavy fines. No exceptions.
Okay, let's talk about trap number 4. And this one is a real game changer: average speed enforcement. You might also hear it called point-to-point tracking. This is currently being aggressively deployed in Virginia and is moving super rapidly into states like New York and Maryland. This technology literally entirely eliminates the traditional speeding strategy that drivers have been using for decades.
Think about the old point-and-camera system. Drivers naturally hit the brakes when they spot a camera, pass it at a safe speed, and then immediately speed right back up, right? Well, average speed enforcement uses a network of cameras at entry and exit points to calculate your exact average speed across that entire distance of the highway segment. There's no single camera in the middle you can just slow down for. You simply cannot game a camera system that you cannot see.
So, let's move on and see how this all builds into the final and, honestly, the most devastating consequence of this new era. Trap number 5, the hidden insurance toll. Because the true cost of 2026 highway enforcement, it isn't just what happens at the side of the road or the initial price tag on the citation. No, it is the massive, hidden financial hit silently waiting for drivers at home the second their auto policy goes up for renewal.
Get this, one single automated camera citation triggers a massive jump in your car insurance premiums. We're talking anywhere from a 15 to 30% increase. And here's the truly painful part about that. That increase typically sticks around for a mandatory 3-year penalty window. If you accidentally trigger 3 routine automated violations in a single year, those increases literally compound on top of each other. That pushes your financial exposure into the thousands of dollars over the life of that rate hike.
And compounding all of this is the real-time danger of electronic insurance verification. States like New York are now operating real-time database reporting. What does that mean? It means a one-day lapse in your coverage, or just a single auto-renewal payment that happened to fail at the bank, is flagged instantly during any routine camera read on the highway. This triggers automatic surcharges and long-term financial pain that follows your driving record for years, and it completely bypasses any human police interaction whatsoever.
The enforcement system on American highways, it just no longer stops you to explain what you did wrong. It records you, it identifies you, and it bills you. So the ultimate question is, are you ready for the automated highway? Because the undeniable reality is that the highway is now constantly watching us, and total, unyielding compliance is truly your only real defense against compounding financial ruin. So keep these massive changes in mind the next time you merge onto the interstate. The paradigm has officially shifted.